In 1982, divers exploring a 3,000-year-old shipwreck beneath the Mediterranean Sea uncovered something extraordinary: more than 30 tons of copper stacked neatly inside the wreck. For decades, archaeologists believed they already knew where this copper had come from. But a surprising discovery thousands of miles away, near Lake Superior in North America, forced researchers to ask an impossible question. Could ancient America's copper have traveled across the Atlantic over 3,000 years ago? It sounded unbelievable, yet the evidence was difficult to ignore. This is the story of the shipwreck that reopened one of America's oldest archaeological mysteries. The ship itself, known as the Uluburun Shipwreck, sank around 1300 BC off the coast of present-day Turkey. Resting on the seabed for more than 3 millennia, it carried one of the largest Bronze Age cargoes ever discovered. Among its treasures were over 30 tons of copper ingots, along with tin, glass, ivory, jewelry, and luxury goods from across the ancient world. To archaeologists, it was more than a shipwreck. It was a snapshot of an international trade network that connected distant civilizations. For years, experts believed the copper almost certainly came from Cyprus, one of the ancient world's most important copper producers. The mystery seemed solved. Until new scientific studies began raising questions no one expected. That changed when independent researcher Gavin Menzies and later geologist Scott Walter pointed to a much older mystery on the opposite side of the world. Around Lake Superior, archaeologists have documented thousands of ancient copper mining pits, some dating back several thousand years. The region contains some of the purest native copper on Earth, and researchers estimate that ancient miners extracted enormous quantities using only stone hammers, fire, and incredible skill. But one question has never completely disappeared: where did all that copper go? While many archaeologists believe it was used by indigenous cultures across North America, others argue that the total amount recovered from archaeological sites seems far smaller than some estimates of what may have been mined. That debate has fueled one of the most controversial mysteries in ancient history. Then came the shipwreck. When scientists began studying the Bronze Age cargo in greater detail, a new question emerged. Could modern science identify exactly where the copper had been mined? Researchers analyzed the metal using chemical and isotopic techniques, comparing its unique fingerprint with known copper sources across the ancient world. If the results pointed to Cyprus, the mystery would be over. But if they pointed somewhere else, it could challenge decades of assumptions. This possibility sparked intense debate, with some researchers suggesting that ancient trade routes may have been far more complex than anyone had imagined, while mainstream archaeologists urged caution, arguing that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Over the years, several researchers claimed that trace element patterns and isotope studies left room for alternative interpretations. These claims quickly spread across books, documentaries, and the Internet, leading some people to believe that the copper aboard Bronze Age ships may have come from North America. But when mainstream archaeologists reviewed the available evidence, they reached a different conclusion. Most published scientific studies continue to identify Cyprus as the most likely source of the Uluburun Shipwreck's copper. Even so, the debate refused to disappear. If Cyprus supplied the copper, then why do the ancient mines around Lake Superior appear so vast? And if North America's copper never crossed the Atlantic, where did the immense quantities extracted by ancient miners actually go? Those unanswered questions continue to fuel one of the most fascinating archaeological mysteries in American history. The mystery becomes even stranger when you consider the scale of the ancient mines themselves. Across Michigan's Keweenaw Peninsula and Isle Royale, archaeologists have documented thousands of prehistoric mining pits, along with massive stone hammers, charcoal, and wooden tools left behind by ancient miners. Radiocarbon dating shows that many of these mines were active thousands of years before European contact. There is no dispute that an advanced copper mining tradition existed here. The real mystery is understanding how these mining communities operated for centuries, how their copper was distributed across North America, and why large-scale mining eventually came to an end. While some writers have connected these mines to civilizations across the Atlantic, archaeologists emphasize that no conclusive evidence has yet confirmed such voyages. Even without those extraordinary claims, the ancient copper mines of Lake Superior remain one of the greatest engineering achievements of prehistoric North America, and one of its greatest unanswered mysteries. As researchers continued their investigations, one fact became impossible to ignore: ancient copper from Lake Superior has been discovered at archaeological sites across North America, proving that extensive trade networks already existed thousands of years ago. Communities separated by hundreds, and sometimes thousands, of kilometers exchanged valuable materials long before written history reached the continent. But this discovery created an even bigger question. If prehistoric people were capable of transporting copper across an entire continent, could their trading networks have been even larger than anyone has imagined? Most archaeologists believe the evidence supports widespread trade within North America, not across the Atlantic. Yet the sheer scale of the mining operations, combined with the mystery surrounding the total amount of copper extracted, continues to inspire new research and new debates. Sometimes, the most fascinating mysteries are not the ones we have solved, but the ones we are still trying to understand. Today, the ancient copper mines of Lake Superior are recognized by archaeologists as one of the oldest large-scale mining regions in North America. Thousands of mining pits, stone hammers, charcoal, and other artifacts provide clear evidence that indigenous peoples developed sophisticated mining techniques thousands of years ago. At the same time, the Uluburun Shipwreck remains one of the most important archaeological discoveries of the Bronze Age, offering an extraordinary glimpse into ancient Mediterranean trade. While some authors have attempted to connect these two mysteries, no peer-reviewed evidence has conclusively shown that copper from Lake Superior reached the Uluburun ship. Even so, the comparison has sparked an important discussion: just how advanced were ancient trade networks, and how much of our past is still waiting to be discovered. Sometimes, the greatest discoveries don't answer old questions, they force us to ask entirely new ones. Perhaps the greatest lesson of this mystery has nothing to do with a single shipwreck, or even a single mine. It reminds us that history is constantly being rewritten as new evidence emerges. The people who mined Lake Superior's copper thousands of years ago achieved something extraordinary, leaving behind an engineering legacy that still amazes archaeologists today. And although the idea that their copper reached the Bronze Age Mediterranean remains unproven and widely debated, the question itself has inspired decades of research into the true scale of ancient trade and human ingenuity. The Uluburun Shipwreck and the ancient mines of Lake Superior each tell remarkable stories on their own. Whether they are connected or not, they reveal a world far more sophisticated than we once imagined. And perhaps the next discovery, buried beneath the earth, or hidden beneath the sea, will finally reveal the answer that historians have been searching for all along. What do you think? Could ancient trade networks have reached farther than we realize, or is the connection between Lake Superior and the Bronze Age shipwreck only a coincidence? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to Archive 0 for more forgotten history, archaeological discoveries, and the world's greatest unsolved mysteries. Because sometimes, the biggest secrets of history aren't lost, they're simply waiting to be uncovered.